great. It is sunny, birds are singing. It's April in New Hampshire, 27 degrees Fahrenheit when I got in the car. You can see the frost on the sunroof is just starting to melt. The first track day weekend / race weekend of the season. Got the trailer and the bike loaded up with everything. Today is a racer license certification course. Then we'll be back tomorrow and Sunday for the first actual races of the weekend. And yeah, looking forward to having a good time. So in terms of what I want to work on, last season, at the end of the season, I did a little comparison video of what I've been working on. And I was quite pleased with how that went because I was slower than I was the year before, except I wasn't trying to go fast. I was trying to do things right, and there's a lot in hindsight that I was doing wrong and that I didn't know, but at least the one thing I can say is that I was consistent multiple laps in a row in a race environment. So I was really pleased with that. I think for today, I don't know what the actual course will be like, if I just get track time or what, or if I'll have to do drills. I have no idea. I didn't even ask anyone, but my thinking is I'll spend the morning going slow. Like it's 32 fucking degrees now. It's gonna be freezing, cold tires, cold body. First time I've ridden the bike in like 7 months. So we're going slow this morning. Not just go slow, but be focused on a few things. So the two things that are top of mind is the first thing I want to focus on is vision and identifying, getting a better sense of points in corners. And for the points that I don't have, or for the corners that I don't have specific points on, to really try and use my wide vision and my peripheral vision and visualize what the right line through that corner looks like.
Stay in the right 2 lanes.
So that I can start picking them out, which is one of the things I figured out at this last track day, is that if I don't have reference points in a corner, I go in and feel rushed and I don't know what I'm looking for, and trying to look for them makes me feel more rushed. But instead of trying to look for them, if I can visualize the right line through the corner and try to follow that and you know, distance to the curb and the radius and all that stuff, in doing so, you end up inevitably seeing reference points come screaming up at you. So I want to focus on kind of the lead-in points, the entry points, the apexes of the corners. Entry points we can wait till exit points, sorry, we can wait till the afternoon on, or some of the later sessions. Yeah, I think the afternoon. I mean, I'll probably be looking for it with my peripheral vision a bit, but we can definitely wait for those. But really just getting the corner entries right, because I don't want to have to be making steering adjustments. I don't want to be getting my throttle control run today. It's, you know, it's freezing. So that's the first thing I want to work on. And the second is, other than just general being smooth and consistent on the throttle everywhere, which is just like a general thing all day, but the second real thing is body position, and not getting off the bike or anything like that today, but specifically using my calves and kind of the ball of my foot to push my knees up into the tank instead of trying to squeeze onto it with my hips, and getting all loose in my hips so that I can, you know, move about on the bike smoothly. That's my second thing. And the reason that's up there is because I keep defaulting back to trying to use my like basically with the angles, like my hip flexors, to squeeze and grab the tank, and then letting one leg off really early. So I'm basically using like a single leg hip flexor to try and get a good connection with the tank hip flexor. And you know, you can do like one lap like that before you've pulled 3 muscles and you're screaming and you can't bend over anymore. And it was causing me actual problems a lot last year. And obviously I knew how to fix it. I know how to fix it now, which is don't try and do that. Don't be an idiot. Yeah, that's what I want to work on. In terms of other things, I think the more I put in my head at once this morning, the worse it'll be. So there's not much else, and then I assume there'll be some classroom instruction for the racer practice, the racer license course. So I'll let that just come as it is, so I can have some free mental space to pay attention to it. But yeah, that's all. Couple things to focus on. Goal is to get through the weekend confident, comfortable, maybe get a little bit of racing in, but mostly just get through the weekend confident, comfortable, and consistent, and making improvements. Saturday, after the first race weekend is now finished, I am tired, like mentally and physically much more sore than I was after Friday, even though really racing today was only a 10-minute practice session at 8 in the morning in the freezing cold, where I was the only one who went out, then a 15-minute practice session, and then a 4-lap race, and then an 8-lap race, and that was it. So even though it was less, just way more stressful, and I was tense and I was tight. But anyway, it's going back tomorrow, Sunday, doing one practice session and then 1 race, and then done for the weekend. There's a second race I could have signed up for, but it's like the last one of the day, and I just want to wrap up nice and early and go home. How's it going? God, yeah, I am just beat, and it's only 6 o'clock. It's going great. I'm pretty sure I now have a race license. I did my rookie race, no problems, everything's good, so that was exciting. The actual process, I would say, was like less involved than I thought it was going to be. It's just like basically a normal track day with like a little bit of classroom time, and then like a handout quiz, and it's like he like explicitly gives you every question and every answer that's going to be on the quiz. So it was not difficult. Yeah, and then the actual content was just sort of, going over all the stuff in there. But I only say all that because I was not sure what it was going to be, and it was like a full day yesterday, and it was like jam-packed schedule of like long classroom, track, run here, run there, get your bike ready, no time to like check. So it was a lot going on. Track and the races. So today, like I said, freezing in the morning, just went around sighting. So the actual races were good. I took it easier in the 4-lap rookie race than I did in the, actually it was only 6 laps for the real race because they had to cut it short. So I took it easier in the rookie race that was first and 4 laps than I did in the 6-lap real novice race. And yet I was 2 seconds quicker a lap. Or at least my best time was 2 seconds quicker, which kind of says it all. Like, it just says I was like kind of telling myself that I didn't have any goals and I was just there to finish the race. Actually made me ride better. And like, of course, right? Because I was more relaxed and just kind of hit the same marking points that I always did instead of looking for new, more aggressive ones. So a little lesson in there for me tomorrow as well. Like, don't go in there trying to achieve anything. And I'm not fast. I suck. I'm slow as hell. And just go in there and just be consistent and do my thing. And then in being consistent, I'll be able to find the edges and improve. And yeah, honestly, you know what I'm thinking right now? I'm like, how on earth do people have the energy to do like a full weekend summary of what they're doing every day? I am just beat. Sunday finished. That's the full race weekend finished. I did just a practice and the one race today, and I feel a lot better than I did after yesterday because it's only not even 3 o'clock and nice and early. Had plenty of just really only two track sessions, so I'm not as beat up. Also, I just knew what was going on, so way less stress. I think much less mental stress today, even though it fucking rained and dumped it down. The morning practice session we got in was freezing cold. It wasn't freezing, but it was cold, and the track was damp from raining overnight. And then a bunch of people didn't go out. Only 3 of us went out in the practice. And then as we were putting the bikes back in the garage, the sky opened up again and it really came down hard. So that was sort of fun. And then I was really worried about the track being wet for my race, which was the second race, and I really shouldn't have been, didn't have to be, but it is what it is. So I basically went out and I put the bike in, I think I had it in road mode, not rain mode, but not the actual, so not the track mode. So there was not great drive out of corners. And then, I was just sort of worried that there wouldn't be any grip. So I just putted around at pretty slow speeds for the first 3 laps basically. And there were only 8 laps. So, I got passed by a lot of people, and didn't have the tire warmers, blah blah blah, but just excuses. In reality, it was funny. I ended up doing what I did in practice a little bit. I guess I can talk about that. So in the practice, because it was definitely damp, there was some puddles and whatnot, and I basically was like, this will be a great opportunity to try working on some of the things that I have to work on at slower speed. So I'd basically just come out of corners with a nice smooth drive, and then instead of upshifting and top of the next gear, I just kind of held the throttle there and wasn't going anywhere close to speeds, and then the braking zones would just roll off and kind of ride in at 50% brakes for longer and from a slower speed. And then it just gave me all this extra time on track, as in each lap was a lot longer. So I think we were doing 140s to 150s lap times, but then the actual corner speed, even though it was wet, I was so relaxed that I was able to just be okay, I can take, I don't have to slow down to 30 miles an hour for turn 3. I can take it quicker, and I had time to just, see the speedo and be oh, okay, yeah, I can do this quicker. The entry wasn't rushed, and did the same thing into turn 1. Instead of hitting the ringing out 5th gear down the home straight, just held it in 4th. I think first 2 laps I even just held it in 3rd down the home straight, and not even at red line, just kind of high RPMs. And then when it come into the braking zone, just kind of roll off, half brake pressure, nice and smooth, and then you kind of realize oh, it's gonna be fine. Then just kind of trail all the way off, and ended up doing the actual slowest point of the corner was faster in the morning cold damp session that I was doing yesterday in the race, and it was much safer, and I wasn't stressed. I had all this extra wiggle room, loads of not much lean angle. It was great. And then I brought some of that into the race. Unfortunately, I also brought the race pace, the lack of race pace into the race. But it was funny because I was not stressing in this race. I didn't go into 5th gear on the home straight again, which I was doing all day yesterday. That high RPM 5th gear too, all the way to the red line, I think. And I don't think I actually was doing that in this race. I think I was stopping at 4th. And you know what? I did quicker lap times than I did in yesterday's race. And I came off. I thought to myself, I'm not beat up mentally or physically. I'm not tired. I could do another probably 5 laps without really struggling, right? I'm not, I was breathing hard, but not wasn't out of breath breathing hard. And then all this, and I'm not scaring myself anywhere on track. I was able to hit a few corners much better than I had been doing the day before. Hopefully, I hope it shows up on the footage I took. And after all that, I'm doing the same times I was doing yesterday, and it's well, that's kind of what I said when I came off yesterday. I was just stop pushing and stop trying so hard and just take it easy. And just do what you can do. And then I came off now, and I'm if I was doing another race afterwards, A, I feel like I've got plenty of gas in the tank, and B, I know where I can start to add a little bit back in and just immediately pick up time. So that's a good feeling. I feel really good about that. In terms of specifics, so turn 1, I was just rolling off, add the full board way early, and just carrying more speed in for longer. And the reason I thought to do that is because I asked Mackenzie, who's quicker than me on his 400, and I was what's your top speed? And he said 100 miles an hour or something. And I was I should be able to ride with that as my top speed and do a similar lap time, right? I don't need to be blistering on the straights, which is what I actually feel I was doing really well the day before. And Demetrio said I was doing a good job there. But I thought, you know, if I can enter the corner like I'm on a 400, it'll get my brain much more used to that entry speed and that corner speed. And in order to do that, I need to not enter the corner at 140, 150 miles an hour, like you know, on the straight before turn one, and just so that my brain can start clocking in. Okay, this much speed at this track with these obstacles, and you know, the walls at Loudon always give me like a sense of speed that's a little artificially high because they're so close, even though you're not looking at them, they're just in the peripheral. And yeah, if I can go in longer and lighter on the brakes, I'll actually be able to ride quicker through the corners. And that's what was happening. And actually Mackenzie passed me in the race, even though he started behind me. But I thought, I hope I got this on the GoPro, I thought, let me stick with him and just, like, you know, I'm not actually going to try and race him, let me just try and follow his line a bit. And I was behind him coming out on the hump straight, and I thought, like, if I smack this thing and I have the traction to do it and I go all the way, I reckon I can get him into turn one. But I was like, I don't want to get him into turn one. I want to see what he looks like in a race into turn one and just come in kind of mirroring him. And that's kind of what I did, and it was great. Like, it went really, really well. It was fun, and I just kind of rode into turn one with him, right behind him at pretty similar speed, and I was like, oh, I can do turn one the same speed he can do. And he's, you know, 4 or 5 seconds a lap quicker than me. Great. Of course, then turn 1A, he did something a little different to me, and I made a little mistake trying to copy, and it didn't work out. I wasn't riding my line, and blah blah blah. So that kind of fell to pieces, and I wasn't able to stick with him into 3, which is a shame because I wanted to see what his line through 3 looked like. And then for 3, I was just talking with Demetrio last night because I held him up into 3 for a lap and really frustrated him, you know, in a good way. I'm pleased with that. And he was like, you effing park it in 3, and then you get, you know, you just beat me on the drives. And I was like, okay, well, why am I parking it? And that's where this thing of like, oh, you're going so fast in that you don't have to quite, your brain cued in enough to hit your brake mark, and you're braking so hard, and then you go so slow, and you know, because you're so hard on the brakes, adding lean is more difficult, blah blah blah. And so for turn 3, it was like, you know, look at the speed up. That's what I was doing in the practice. Like, just don't look at the speed up, but glance at it. Like, what speed are you taking this corner at? Okay, that was 30 miles an hour, and that felt way too fucking slow. Okay, so we can maybe start the tip in a little earlier and at a faster speed. And I think on the GoPro it will look inconsistent because it was inconsistent, and I was playing with it. I think I need another 3, 4, 5, 7, 17 track days to really start getting it like properly and properly consistent. But it was starting, there were a couple there that really started to feel nice, and then there was that little dark patch on the outside, and I was like, oh, you don't have to cut it in early, you can really ride all the way out and then get a nice straight drive up the hill, and if you do that right, you kind of block off, you know, cut off people who are trying to pass you on the inside. So that was nice. Turn 6 coming down to the bowl, I didn't really have anything great working for me or against me there. And then up over the hill, 7, 8, if you come up over that hill, and I did this a couple times, and you know, maybe because you gave it a little too much gas, so you didn't quite have the right direction, but if for whatever reason you roll out of it at the top of that hill, the weight transfers in a really sketchy way, and you get all squirrely in the front. And so in order to have that hill section work nicely, it's basically just like, don't give up the throttle, to keep the bike actually settled and not have that little stuff. I think it's because, and I think the reason I'm getting it, maybe other people don't, is because there is a left to right high speed turn that happens as you crest a hill, like right as you crest it, and if you roll off there, the weight dumps forward, and then you're inputting a turn on the handlebars at that exact moment, and it just, woo, you know, especially if you have any weight on the bars at all, which I did a couple times, and I felt it get bad, just get squirrely. So that's good. And then 9, I was really enjoying 9. I feel like I've got a lot of easy improvements to make there, where just come in, clip the curb, sweep out really nicely, and then lock in the line once it's good. You know, have your throttle just kind of nicely with the constant throttle just pull you back around the corner, set you up to 10, drive out 10, nice hard drive out of 10, like looking almost to mid track or to the right and not staring at the apex for 11. And then I am rolling out of that drive too soon because I kept having to open the throttle just to kind of maintain speed between like 11 and 11A, and it's bad. And like I didn't have to do it, but it was just like I wanted to practice entering at 11A at a certain speed to acclimatize my eyes and my brain to it. and I just kept rolling out too soon, and I couldn't convince myself to move the marker back. So I thought, okay, let's add some throttle here just so I can practice that, and then I can come back to this straight and practice rolling out a little later and holding the drive a little longer. But yeah, all's good with that. And then the final little 12 is just probably almost one of the worst points for me on the track in terms of comfort. And I spent some time talking with people about it when we were between races, and just it's like 11A through to 12. I don't know what the chicane's called, like it's just 12, it's just number 12, maybe there's like a 12A or something, I don't know. The little, you go left and you go right left onto the home straight. That part, the key is not to trail brake, I think. And obviously that's not the key forever, but for me right now at my current speed, if I go, flip the throttle to stand the bike up coming out of 11A, and then look to the little apex green dot on the right. If I trail brake there, it slows the bike so much that I'm going so slow when I come back around. And really it's just, for me right now, it's blip the throttle to go right, and then keep the speed, blip the throttle to go left, and then drive out. And I think I got it one time. We'll see, maybe not, but I felt like I got it one time. There was one time where it felt really good. So yeah, that's that. Ultimately, I didn't lose the race, but I basically did. What did I come? I think I was down the bottom of the placings, 7 out of 9 or something like that. No, I think there were 9. Maybe it was 6 out of 8. But that was good. And then I figured out what Demetrio told me. I don't actually have to be in the 1000cc race class. I can be in the Racer 2 class, where 3-cylinder bikes up to 900 and something 80cc are allowed. So I can actually do Novice Racer 2 all season, which is great. That is great, and I'm very happy about that, because it means I can race with my new garage mates, Tony and Anthony, all season, hopefully, unless one of us gets the bump to amateur, which I don't think will happen, unless one of them gets a lot better, a lot faster, because we're all doing the same speed right now, same time. So yeah, that was my race weekend. Ultimately, yeah, didn't crash, got my license, had a good time. I'm starting this season with the same kind of times that I was doing at the end of last season, and was not having to push particularly hard to get them, which feels great. Bike feels incredible, sounds amazing. A couple little things I think I need to tweak: foot pegs, and I just need to get more comfortable with some of the mechanic stuff. Like I want to be more comfortable changing the wheels or the tires. But yeah, anyway, huge success. So yeah, I'll get the footage up on YouTube and take a look at it.